Welcome to the Midnight Horror Club. My name is Dina Anderson, and on this channel we talk all things horror, crime, conspiracy theories, and scary stories. If that's something you're interested in, then please subscribe, and let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about a case that's been in my head for years. This is the first crime case that I became obsessed with. In 2018, I was on my way to work and I took the bus every morning, and then one day I look out of the window and I see a missing person poster, and I remember thinking, that's weird, because I'm from Scandinavia and nothing bad happened. Well, bad things happen everywhere, but I've never seen a poster like that. I also noticed that the image that they used on the poster was quite old, so I was like, why would you use an old photo for someone who's missing? Anyways, got curious, wrote down the information on the poster, and then went to work. And then later I googled the case and I was like, so today we're going to be talking about Andrew Gosden, who was just 14 years old when he left his home in Doncaster to go to London and never returned. So let's start talking about Andrew. So Andrew Gosden was a 14-year-old boy. He lived in Doncaster, which is a city located in England. He lived there with his family, so his parents and his older sister, who was 2 years older than him. And he was pretty close with his family. I mean, they would often hang out after dinner, and he was also close to his sister, and they were very good at leaning on each other. His parents were religious, but they didn't force their beliefs on their children. So they were very open to the children choosing whatever religion or path that they wanted, which I thought was really nice, because often when someone is religious and they have a child, they just kind of force it upon them, and then they don't have a choice. So in Andrew's spare time, he loved to play video games, read books, and he also loved metal music. He attended the Macaulay Catholic High School, where he was part of the Young Gifted and Talented program. He was very smart and talented, and everyone expected him to go to Cambridge University. Another thing I discovered while researching this was, and I know this is so random, but I was just really impressed, but he had a 100% attendance in school. 100. I think mine was at 10%. I was literally never in school. I don't know how I got away with it, but I did. Anyways, Andrew was described as a homebird who rarely left the house, and then when he did, he would always say where he was going. So he would either tell his sister, parents, write a note so that they would know. He was also very happy with his own company, so he didn't feel the need to hang out with his friends after school, like other kids do. Actually, it was more rare for him to do it. It wasn't because he didn't have any friends. He did have friends. He had a small group of friends, but I guess he just didn't feel the need to be social all the time. There weren't any signs of bullying. There weren't any signs of him being unhappy or depressed. So I just quickly want to mention two things that happened before his disappearance, because I think they're really important. So during the summer holiday in 2007, his parents had actually asked him, so right before he disappeared, his parents had actually asked him if he wanted to go to London to, see his grandmother and kind of get away for a bit. And he said no. He said no. He wanted to stay home for the summer, but I think that's just something to keep in mind. It's also worth mentioning that when he disappeared, it was, I think, a week into the new school year after summer holiday. And in the days leading up to his disappearance, he broke his routine twice. And a lot of people say that it's not a big deal, but I don't know. I find it a bit strange, especially if you're someone who always do what you're told and follow rules. So Andrew would always take the bus to school, and on 2 days he chose not to take the bus, but he would walk home. And the walk was an hour and a half. And I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I was fucking lazy. So I don't know, when I read it, it stood out to me. It might just be nothing. It might just be random, but the same week or the week before he disappears, I don't know. So the evening before he disappeared, his father actually talked about it, and he said that nothing was weird, nothing was out of the ordinary. They would do all the things that they would always do. So eat dinner, wash the dishes, play games, watch TV, and then go to bed, and nothing seemed weird. Everyone went to bed, and then the next day, it is the morning of 14th of September 2007. Okay, so let's break down what happened that morning. So it's 7 in the morning, and Andrew woke up late, and he seemed irritable. And for someone who always woke up on time and stuck to a routine, this was very out of character for him. So after having difficulty waking up, he started his usual routine for the day, and he got ready for school. Other than the unusual start with him finding it difficult to wake up and being irritable, nothing else seemed off that day. 5 minutes past 8, Andrew leaves the house to go to school, and he walks towards his usual bus stop, and he's actually seen by a family friend. But then, instead of going to the bus stop, he walked to a gas station and withdrew 200 pounds from an ATM. About 15 minutes later, his parents and sister had left for school/work, so he actually decides to walk back home to the empty house. He placed his uniform in the washing machine and his blazer on the back of his chair. He then changed into casual clothes. He wore a black Slipknot t-shirt, black jeans, and a bag. He also took his wallet, keys, and a PlayStation portable console. About 10 minutes later, he leaves the house and makes his way to Doncaster train station by foot. About half an hour later, he's actually caught on a security camera walking towards the station. And then at 9:15, he arrives at Doncaster train station. He buys a one-way ticket to London in cash from a female ticket seller. No idea why I put female. That's just not relevant at all, but there we are. So he buys a one-way ticket to London, despite being told that a return ticket will only cost 50 pence more. But he insisted on a single ticket, which I thought was weird because I go to London often, and if I could get a return for 50 pence, I would take it no matter what, just in case that I wanted to, leave early or whatever. So yeah, I found that interesting that he wanted a single ticket, but we'll get more into that later. So at 11:20, he arrives at King's Cross Station after traveling on the train from Doncaster for nearly 2 hours. And this station is the last stop on the line, so he's actually caught on CCTV within the station, leaving the platform, and then about 5 minutes later, he is caught again leaving the main entrance of King's Cross Station. And this is the last confirmed sighting of Andrew. Let's fast forward to 6 p.m., same day. And while Andrew is somewhere in London, we don't know what he's doing, his parents are at home about to eat dinner. And they start calling Andrew's name because it's dinner time, and he doesn't answer. So they go to the basement to check, and he's not there. Then they go to his room and check, and he's not there either. So they can't find him anywhere. So they just assume that he's at a friend's house. So they call their friends to figure out where he's at, and they discover that not only is he not at a friend's house, but he didn't go to school that day. So the annoying thing about this story is normally when you don't go to school, the teacher or admin people will call your parents and let them know that you didn't go to school. But they called the wrong number. So that's great. So it's now 7 p.m. in the evening, and after trying to find Andrew on their own, they decide to call the police. The police arrive and they begin taking notes and searching the house. They searched his room where they found some birthday money, and because they found money in his room, they didn't think it was urgent, which I thought was really stupid. So in their mind, they were like, oh, there's money in his room, so he's gonna come back. The police also found Andrew's passport and PSP charger. So the Gosden family and friends searched the neighborhood for Andrew. The police conducted their own search, but kept it to the area close to their home, including, the park, bushes. And then after 3 hours of searching, they had created a leaflet that they could put, different places. And friends and family kept searching until morning, but they just didn't find anything. So 3 days after he disappeared, they finally talked to the woman who sold him the train ticket. And I don't know how it took them that long. I guess because it was weekend, or he disappeared on a Friday, but so stupid that it took that long. So they discovered that he had bought a single ticket to London, and then they could investigate further. So when they discovered that he went to London, the family actually goes to London to hand out flyers. They go to different areas in London where they think he might have gone. So museums, parks, areas that he loved. They didn't find him, but they're doing the best that they can, trying to find their son.
Kevin and Glenys Gosden are searching for their son, Andrew. Their nationwide non-stop journey to find him has meant a demanding round of radio, press and TV interviews. Andrew's only 14, but he looks even younger. He's a bright boy, good at school, but he's also very shy.
He's good company, he is witty. He was just gentle and a pleasure to be around, really.
You would normally find Andrew at some point every night or every day like this, with his Xbox thing that I can't work, going click, 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 click on the Xbox. This is a very normal posture for him.
This is Andrew's room. Very typical, I suppose, of many teenage boys. He's got his snooker table that he likes ever such a lot. And you can sort of often hear that he's around because we can be downstairs and we'll hear him putting the balls on the table.
He had I would say, a small group of friends at school, but he didn't tend to go out. If you met him, you'd just think, what a quiet, polite, well-mannered boy. You know, he was just thoughtful and quite caring about people.
Last September, and the start of the new school term.
We were talking about school because he had quite a few new teachers this year, and so I was just asking, how's Mr. So-and-so, Miss what's her name, and whatever, and he was just completely normal, you know, nothing out of the ordinary at all, quite relaxed.
Friday, September the 14th, and Andrew's up and out early.
He shot out for school in his uniform. We were a little bit late getting up.
Kevin and Glenys go off to work. They get back home about 5 o'clock, expecting to find Andrew there as usual.
We just made an assumption that Andrew had come in from school and was either in his room or in our converted cellar room, and we just called him for tea, and then we realised that he wasn't in the house.
At first, Glenys and Kevin aren't too concerned. Finding Andrew's school uniform on the back of the chair in his bedroom, they think he must be at his friend's house.
Thought, well, did he forget his key, and go to our friend's where the spare is and get chatting with his son. And when that turned out to be wrong, we just started getting worried.
By 8 o'clock that evening, Andrew's still not home.
So we then got to the point of trying to contact school, and we were able to then find out that he'd never even turned up at school in the morning.
As that next hour progressed, we knew something wasn't right. And so we then kicked things into motion and we found the police.
So the South Yorkshire police asked the British Transport Police to search the CCTV footage, and because they basically wanted to see if they could find anything. But after looking at it, they were like, oh no, we can't find him. And 3 weeks later, it's reviewed again, and they do find him. They find him at King's Cross Station, leaving the platform and then leaving the actual station. And it's just, the police work in this story is just ridiculous. It's so slow. And then you might be thinking, oh, well, what about the Tube CCTV or like all the others? They were so slow that by the time that they wanted to check the rest of the CCTV footage, it was deleted, because obviously they can't keep it forever. So I think it's like 5 weeks. I think it gets, or at least back in the day, it would be deleted after 5 weeks. So all the evidence just down the drain. So good work. So there are a few reasons why he could have gone to London. The first one is that there was a YouTube gathering and maybe he wanted to attend it. There's actually a video on YouTube where you can see a guy that kind of looks like Andrew, but it's definitely not him. But he's got kind of like the same style, same hair. And a lot of people think that it's Andrew, but he looks way older. So no way that that's him. Reason number 2 is that he went to see one of his favorite bands. So that week, I think it was like 3 bands or musicians that he listened to were literally playing in London that week. So he could have gone for that reason. Third reason, he wanted to run away. I personally don't think so. The whole thing feels odd. It does not feel like he tried to run away. The fact that he didn't take his money, he didn't even take a jacket or like a hoodie. You know, if you want to run away, you would assume that you would take some stuff. Fourth reason, a lot of people online seems to think that he went to London to commit suicide, which again, I don't think so. Why would you go all the way to London to commit suicide? It's with all the cameras. I don't know if maybe he didn't know that, but with all the cameras, with all the people in London, like there's no way you just go to London to commit suicide. So I don't know. I don't think that's what happened. Some people think that he was groomed online and that he was talking to someone, whether it was a family friend, someone from that program he did, and that they were meeting up in London, and then potentially he was getting a ride home, which I actually think is the most plausible reason. Plausible? Wait, is that a word? Possible? Plausible? I think that is very possible, because when on those 2 days where he decided to walk home from school, maybe that's when he talked to that person. Maybe that's when he sat somewhere and planned his trip to London. I don't know. But I definitely think that could have happened. So he's been spotted everywhere, literally everywhere in the UK. So I mean, he's been spotted in London, in Brighton, in, just all over the country, and there hasn't been any confirmed sightings. There was one where a person saw him in a Pizza Hut on Oxford Street, but again, it hasn't been confirmed. There was no footage because apparently that camera didn't work, of course. So there's so many things I feel like could have happened to him. It could have been such a simple thing, or not simple, but he could have, walked down the wrong street and got robbed and maybe killed. He could have gone to a concert and met people and, they gave him drugs, he OD'd and they got rid of the body. Like there's so many things that could have happened and we just don't know. So in December of 2021, 2 people actually got arrested. So let me read this for you. So on 11th of January 2022, South Yorkshire Police said that on the 8th of December 2021, detectives had arrested 2 men aged 38 and 45 on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking. The older man's arrest was also connected with possession of child pornography. Both men have been released under investigation while inquiries continue. They are believed to be the first arrest made in connection to the disappearance. The following day was announced that numerous devices had been seized from the men for forensic investigation, which police said could take 6 months to a year. So this was in 2021, right? And obviously, I keep up with all the news, and it's now 2024, and they still haven't finished it. Like, how slow are they? How slow can you be? So this is just one of those cases that really bothers me because the police were just really slow and really shit, and also the fact that he went to a city where there's cameras everywhere. I don't know if you've ever been to London. There are cameras everywhere, literally everywhere. So for them to have nothing apart from that King's Cross clip is just insane. It's actually insane. But yeah, it's unsolved. I really hope that the family and their friends are gonna get answers someday, because it's been so long now and they still haven't, they haven't even changed the locks on the house in case that he comes back. I really hope that there'll be, more answers, whether it's good or bad, as long as they just get answers. So yeah, that's the disappearance of Andrew Gosden. Let me know what you think could have happened. And yeah, that was it for this episode. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time in the Midnight Horror Club.